You mean Ashley?
Hello.
Hi, Sue.
Hi.
I'm just waiting for any more councillors to join first so I can get them on the front screen.
Okay, no big rush.
Hi, John. Sue.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thanks. Been nice. Seems
Yes, I can hear you.
spring's about to spring, isn't it?
Maybe.
We're getting some nice weather now. I've been out in the garden.
Good.
Oh.
Good evening, everyone.
Ian, Roger.
Oh, Roger.
Just look for it. Search.
Okay.
Streaming.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, so the meeting ID is 938-9330-3994. And the password is 956190. Okay, let me pass you over to Peter from the other room. Right, 1 second.
Roger, did you have an exciting day following the Cheshire East meeting?
It was a long day, that's for sure.
It sounded as if there was a lot going on.
I enjoyed the opening and the closing of the meeting. I ducked out of everything in between.
Was there anything apart from the obvious that affected Handforth or had implications for the parish?
Yes, there was.
Ashley, there seems to be a problem. Cynthia cannot get on for some reason. Peter's just talking to her on the phone. So hopefully she might appear, but I don't know. She's got the right password and everything. I'm not sure what's
Right.
going on.
Yeah, everybody's been sent the same one.
You in a dark cupboard, Ashley?
Who's in a dark cupboard?
Ashley.
Oh, Ashley.
It looks as if his beast has run out.
I've got a shilling here if he needs it.
It's not appeared, no.
I don't know. Like that, you mean?
Very bright.
You got a contrast up on there.
Looking a bit like Carlos the Jackal there, Ashley.
So dark.
No. No sense. No. Let's go and see what's happening. Oh, there she is.
Good afternoon, Andrew here.
Hi, Andrew.
Okay, when you're ready, Brian. I think I've admitted everybody who's coming.
Okay, do we know how many there are roughly?
Ooh, 81 so far, but that's including ourselves.
I can only see 5 thumbnails. But maybe that doesn't matter because with my eyesight, I can't see any of them anyway.
Actually, is this streaming to the Facebook page at the moment?
No, it's only streaming to YouTube.
Got 158 on YouTube right now.
Yes, but just be aware that comments are disabled on YouTube.
Is it possible to add that Facebook streaming as well? I think there's a few people have just messaged waiting for that to start.
Are we ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'll declare the meeting started then. Good evening, everybody. This is a meeting of Handforth Parish Council's Planning Committee, scheduled to take up to half an hour, we hope. Because there's a lot of people watching, there's a lot of interest in this meeting because of recent viral events. I'd like to make everyone aware that the meeting is open to the public generally, and it may well be seen by a very wide audience. Various TV stations are taking note, BBC, ITV and several others. So your privacy is a significant concern here. If you don't want your face and name to be known, then you need to take steps to remove yourselves. If you're not familiar with using Zoom, one of the things the software does is to listen out, as it were, for people speaking and making other noises like phones ringing, the family talking, dogs barking, anything. And if there's enough noise, Zoom will put your image up on the screen and your name. At the meeting that went viral a week and a half ago, some members of the, one member of the public, I should say, used a brief Anglo-Saxon phrase and thus earned immortality in the pages of the Times newspaper. You can avoid this by clicking your mute button so that you're silent on the system. It's a symbol that looks like a microphone. It'll either be crossed out to show that you're muted or not crossed to show that you're audible. You probably don't want to appear in that Andrew Lloyd Webber musical playing the part of Julie's iPad, so there is your warning. The agenda begins. I need to find the agenda on my screen. There we go. Right.
Can I ask if you could perhaps speak a little louder, please?
Yes, thank you, John. I agree. I can't hear very well.
I'm afraid that's about as much as I can do. My voice has dried up an awful lot. These last couple of days I've been answering the phone to an awful lot of people and I'm struggling a bit. So it's not laryngitis, it's just that my throat's kind of seized up. So it may fail altogether, I don't know, but this is the best I can do, sorry.
May I ask a question, as I can't bring up a point of order as a member of the public, but I note from the agenda, questions from the member of the public are only allowed if they relate specifically to the agenda, unless the chairman says otherwise. Under standing orders A and B, that seems to not not relate to the standing orders in question, that questions from the member of the public don't have to relate to the agenda, regardless of whether debate has to happen or not. Can I just bring that up as a not a point of order, but I can't bring up a point of order, but I question that part of the agenda.
Well, it's the agenda that was provided. I didn't provide it, but it is our normal course of doing these things.
I mean, it doesn't relate. It doesn't abide with your standing orders under 8A and B, though. That it has to specifically relate to the agenda unless the chairman says otherwise.
That's correct. I mean,
that's not what the standing orders say. I'm just questioning the agenda. That's all, and whether you think that's acceptable to change the standing orders at this.
George, it sounds like you haven't read or understood.
Sorry. Could we please? We've had enough disruption over these last few meetings. Could we please organise this so that
I'm not being disruptive. I'm asking.
I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying that whoever just interjected there didn't ask for permission to speak, and we need to do that. I
apologise. I didn't ask for permission to speak either. I was just questioning the agenda.
I wasn't. If we don't have order, we won't have a meeting, will we?
Of course, and that's. I was being polite in questioning.
You were. It was the interjection that I was objecting to.
So I apologise if I came across as rude. That's not what I intended. I was just questioning the agenda.
Okay. There will be an opportunity to ask questions beyond the agendas in the next meeting if you're going to stay for that.
I've looked at the agenda for the next meeting, and the agenda says the same thing in respect of questions.
Excuse me. Would you please?
Apologies. Sorry.
To let me finish the sentence. In the agenda item for the second meeting, I've forgotten where it is. It's about number 6 or 7 down. There's an open item, as I would call it, where people are allowed to ask questions and make statements about things that are not on the agenda. Now, given that we've got a relatively short amount of time for the planning meeting, I think it's probably best if we continue with the agenda as it is.
Absolutely, of course. I just wanted to question that fact. That's all.
And conclude this agenda, and then we move on to the next one and see where that takes us. If there's time at the end of this planning meeting, we'll see about reopening the open forum so that you can ask questions. But I think we ought to press on with it just in case we run out of time. Okay. So apologies for absence. I know that Councillor Burkill is tied up with a meeting of Cheshire East, so he's unable to attend. That's the only apology that I have.
Excuse me, Chair. Is that an actual Cheshire East meeting taking place this evening?
It was taking place today. I presume it's still running. I don't know.
No, the meeting finished at about 5 o'clock.
Well, I don't know. That's all I can tell you.
Well, that's all I can tell you, Chair, that the meeting finished at 5 o'clock. So I don't think Councillor Burkill will be taking part in that meeting.
Thank you for that input.
You're welcome.
Okay. Item number 2 on the agenda is...
Can I ask, sorry, Chair, is there no apologies from any other councillors?
I don't know whether anybody else has received any apologies. That's the apology that I've received.
So only Councillor Burkill, okay.
Okay, item 2 on the agenda is always the one that's there to trip up the chairman because it includes the more or less unpronounceable word pecuniary. But its item is to allow councillors to note any interests of pecuniary or non-pecuniary nature relating to items that are on the agenda. So does anybody have anything to declare in that respect?
Councillor Smith, no interest.
Councillor Sampson, no interest.
Councillor Moore, no interest.
Okay, and myself, none at all. Right, item number 3 then is the open forum. This is an opportunity for members of the public to ask questions or make comments about items that are on the agenda. In other words, the planning applications themselves.
Yes, I have a question, if I may. It's regarding items 21045 and 21046, both which pertain to consider planning application 24228M for a single-storey porch rear side extension to provide living accommodation for 1 Bidston Drive, Handforth. There are in fact 2 identical agenda items. I was just wanting to clarify, is it a single-storey porch or is it a 2-storey porch?
Chair, can I answer that for you?
Oh, can I point out that according to the Cheshire, somebody's got something jangling.
Sorry, that's me.
Okay,
I'll mute myself.
you'll be banned to Peru if you're not careful. I looked on the website, Cheshire's planning website, for this a couple of days ago, and this planning application had a closing date for comments of last October. So I don't think we're going to be spending much time talking about this. The decision has already been made by the planning officer in December. So
I was just querying whether it was
Yeah.
a loophole. Is it a single story or is it a
This-
two-story?
Chair, can I make a comment on this, please? This is Councillor Cynthia Sampson.
okay,
Unfortunately, the clerk made an error and the application should be 20/5446M. And the second one, 24046, is to be deleted.
So
Okay, and if we move down to 21049, that planning application should read 210055M, and the clerk apologises profusely.
okay, so we clarified the number discrepancy, but still the question remains: is it a 1-story porch rear side extension or a 2-story rear side?
No, it's a 1-story.
Okay,
Yes.
that's what I wanted to know. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
so are we all agreed that item number 5 and number 6, which are for application 24228M, are simply to be deleted from the...
No, 21045 should read 20/5446M.
Yes, but we can't deal with an application that isn't on the agenda.
But he's made an error, and 20/444228M bears no resemblance to one
In order
Bidston Drive.
for everybody who may have an interest in discussing the actual application that you're talking about, it must be on the agenda.
It is on the agenda, but it's got the wrong planning application number. So if you looked at 20/4228M, it bears no resemblance to 1 Bidston Drive.
I say, I say
Chair,
again, we cannot discuss 4228M, 1 Bidston Road, 1 Bidston Drive, if it's completely erroneous.
It's on the agenda.
It's on.
But it's been decided.
No.
Chair, can I move a motion without requiring written notice that we adopt the new number and discuss the application?
Absolutely, of course you can't.
No? Okay.
Sorry, why can he not do that?
If members of the public and people who may have an interest in a planning application can't have proper notice given that it's to be discussed because it affects their properties or their concerns with the property.
I believe under the standing orders, it doesn't require written notice as a change of agenda item. I would have to check them and reread them, but I've got them right here if you want me to. But my understanding is it doesn't require written notice.
Who's speaking?
My name's George.
Right.
Councillor Tolver, can I just say that when I looked at 20/4228M, I contacted our parish clerk, as I would hope that the other councillors on this planning committee, and realised that that bear no resemblance. He came back, apologised profusely, and gave me the correct planning application.
Right.
So if everybody has seen the 20/5446M, that is in keeping with the planning application for 1 Bidston Drive. And I can't see a problem that because Ashley made an error, it's not down to the applicants of the planning application to say, well, I'm sorry, that's not our planning application. I identified it. Obviously, you didn't. I informed all the councillors of the new planning application number, and I think we should be able to debate it.
Well, why didn't you notify me?
I did.
I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
Oh, right. Okay.
But I don't think it would make any difference anyway. I mean, with something like this, as I said, people have interests in these things.
But the people with interest would have the correct planning application number. It's because, unfortunately, our clerk put the wrong number down.
Well, there's nothing to stop it being properly advertised for the
So
next
what
meeting,
are you trying to say, Councillor Tolver?
5A18, by the way, is the correct standing order. To amend a motion relevant to the original substantive motion under consideration, provided that this shall not have an effect of nullifying it. 5A.
Could I ask you not to interrupt the councillors?
I was just helping you with respect
could you please not interrupt the councillors?
With respect, sorry. I was just helping you with respect to the standing orders. I was trying to help.
You have no authority, George. No authority at all.
I was trying to be helpful.
George, shut up.
Agreed.
Yeah, shut up, George.
Can I just say, please, let's respect each other. I just want to make it clear that the planning application was inadvertently put on the agenda incorrectly. And the clerk quickly rectified it, gave us the correct 25446M, which I looked at the planning application and I'm fine with it. 21046 was to be deleted. And then if we go to 21049, that has got the correct planning application. The ones that the clerk put on, unfortunately, nobody seemed to recognise except myself. And you're the chair of the planning, Chair.
I can't see what the problem is with putting this on to the next planning meeting.
Because it will be outside the time.
But to do it correctly. Well, we can have an extraordinary meeting then, can't we?
What, because of the clerk's inability to put the correct planning application on? It's not, you know, the planning applicant has given us the correct planning application. And if you go in and look at it, you can see that there's been an error on the parish clerk's part. And he has apologised profusely and corrected it. Well, so why are you stopping it, Councillor Tolver?
Well, I've already told you that.
No, you haven't. You've hummed and hawed.
I've said it hasn't. I haven't hummed and hawed. I've said it's not been properly advertised. And anybody who's got an interest in this has every right to object if we don't advertise it properly.
But why didn't you? being the chair of the planning, come back and say, these two items bear no resemblance to the planning application.
Because no, well, it does bear a resemblance. It's
No, it
exactly that.
doesn't. If you use the old one, Councillor Tolver, if you use the old one, it bears no resemblance to 1 Bidston Drive.
I believe it was you who said we should respect each other.
Chair, can I make a comment?
I am being respectful. I'm trying to get this planning application.
You keep talking when I'm trying. You keep talking when I'm trying to talk, which is when you ask a question and I try to give a response and you won't allow me to. I don't think that's very respectful to you.
Really?
Chair, can I make a comment, please?
So my point is this. I looked at what it said on the agenda. I looked at what it said in the Cheshire East website. I looked at the plans, and then I realised that that application number had already been approved back in December. It had been had a cut-off date of October, and I didn't see anything beyond that. I don't see why any other resident of Bidston Drive or anybody else who might have an interest would have any reaction to that other than what I did. So
I think it's a fair question, though, to ask whether it's 1 or 2.
Is somebody interjecting again? If anybody wants to take exception to us giving our support or rejection
Chair, can I
of that planning item, then they have every right to take us to task.
Can I ask a question, Chair?
It must be properly advertised.
Can I ask a question, Chair? A suggestion?
Yes. That's Councillor Smith, I take it.
Yes. If we notify if we look at this new number and notify the people who live at 1 Bidston Drive and say what our determination is, I don't see with that sort of extension that we're looking to do, it's typical of the area. So if we let them know that we've adjudicated that we have no objections, unfortunately we did it on the wrong number, but in order not to delay this resident's planning application, we need to pass some sort of information around to the neighbours to make sure that they're not got any major objections to it. That gets it off the agenda, it gets the applicant the result that they want, and we can move on to the next item.
I'm perfectly happy that we should call a brief extraordinary meeting in a week's time to do it properly.
To do 1 planning application.
Well, there's another one here that's potentially in the same situation, isn't there? And yes, to do 1 planning application if it's in a hurry.
Well, let's hope that it doesn't run out of time in the interim.
And it will do.
All right, so again, I say that we should delete those 2 items because they're not valid.
Okay, if that's your decision, Chair.
That actually came about as part of the open forum, which I don't know if anybody's got any member of the public has got any other questions or comments on the agenda as part of the open forum. I'll take that silence to mean no. Okay, excuse me, I'm beeping myself. Right, so item on the, we will delete items 5 and 6 on the agenda as being impossible to execute. Item 21047 is application of, what's that, 5542M.
What?
I believe, sorry, Chair, may I speak?
It's 21049.
I'm talking about agenda item 21047. It's the next
that's
one.
Fine.
It's what?
This is Windermere
2104.
Road. Are you still there, Chair?
I'm checking these numbers. Yeah. 20 application reference 20/5542M. There's another one that was decided last year. It had a cut-off date for comment of October.
Yeah, but we can discuss that, councillor.
You can discuss it if you like, but it's already been decided. Is there any point?
Well, it's approved with conditions.
Mm-hmm.
It's already granted.
Yeah. So what do you want to discuss?
Well, the case officer is happy with it.
Yes, it's been approved already.
Yes, it has.
The cut-off date for comment was last October.
Sorry, could the person who has Andrew's iPhone, could they please mute themselves? There should be the mute the microphone button on their application.
I can hear a sort of rather metallic voice, but I can't understand what's being said.
It's gone now.
Good. Okay. So with this application, the 7th item on the agenda, 5542M, as I said, that was, I don't know if anybody's got anything they want to comment on about this, but it's
no,
it's a dead parrot.
No, Chair.
No.
No, Chair.
What? No, you haven't got anything to say.
No.
No.
Nope.
Okay, we delete that item as being not relevant, or gone past its sell-by date anyway. Okay. Number 8 is 25810M.
Chair,
Single story extension at 21 Hallwood Road.
Chair.
Hello?
Chair.
Hello?
May I say that we seem to have missed approval of the minutes of the previous meeting?
You're perfectly right, thank you. I'll come back to that in a minute. Where were we? Right. This one appears to be duplicated a bit further down. If I'm looking at the right bit. (5810M) in item number 12.
Item number 8.
Item number 8 and item number 12, I think,
Are the same.
Are the same thing, are they?
They are.
All right, well, let's deal with it under item number 8. What does anybody want to say about this?
Yes, Chair, if I might. Councillor Moore, sorry, if you can hear me. There is a comment from Highways that the extension should adhere to section 184 agreement, and that was to do with the pavement. Also, there is a letter from the neighbour who adjoins that property to request that any services or damage to that adjoining wall be repaired at the cost of the applicant.
Yes.
And whilst I have no objections to the planning application, I would like the clerk to put in that they must adhere to section 184 and ensure that all repairs are carried out so the neighbour doesn't lose his BT connection or his drainage.
I support that, Councillor Moore.
Thank you.
Councillor Smith, anything to add? Councillor Smith, anything to add?
No, I haven't.
No. Okay, well, I think we're all pretty much in agreement on that one. Who's taking notes of the meeting?
The clerk.
So,
Sorry, can I ask why we're not following the items actually on the agenda?
can you ask what, sorry?
Can I ask why we're not following the agenda from number to number? We'll leave the bits out. For example, the minutes from.
We are following the agenda, except that I overlooked one at the beginning, so we can go back and do that when we finish.
Yes, but we're not following it. We should do, you know, as per the standing order.
We should do, but as we've seen, mistakes can be made.
Sorry, we should call an extraordinary meeting just to, you know, mishap in the minutes, as Councillor Sampson quite rightly, you know, stated. I totally agree with Councillor Sampson.
Well, that's very nice. And we will move on to item number 9.
So do I not get a response then to the comments I've just made?
Which is item number 21/0025M about.
Well, I'd like to call the point of order to state that is very rude that we're not responding.
Water Road in Handforth.
Can I just say something, please?
No, I'm sorry, no, members of the public are not allowed to speak during the business of the council. That's what the open forum is.
Sorry, Brian, sorry.
So we're talking about Water Road. Anybody got any comments on that?
Yes, that's an incorrect application, unfortunately, put on by the clerk. The correct application is 21/0055M. So that needs to go along with the Bidston Drive one.
Okay, so this is wrong, and we need to delete this item then, yes?
Well, we need to defer it and have another meeting.
Right.
I mean, I don't have a problem discussing it because I keyed in the correct planning application. It's our fault that the wrong application number went on. It's not the wrongdoing of the planning applicator. I just feel that we're not being fair to them because it's our error. It's not their error. And I feel that if we can discuss it, I would have much preferred to have discussed it. But you're saying, no, we can't.
I'm saying I think it would be unlawful.
I totally agree with Councillor Sampson. It should be this.
Is that a councillor speaking?
I don't know. Well, it's not me.
Can I please mention again that it's only councillors who can address councillors during this part of the meeting.
So you're saying, Councillor Tolver, that it's unlawful. So what law have we broken by our parish clerk inadvertently putting the wrong planning application on?
Well, the agenda is wrong. We're advertising to the public that we're going to discuss application 123 when you actually want to discuss application 456. That's nonsense.
But it's not a law that we've broken. It's a mistake.
Well, you have to advertise the business that the council is going to discuss on the agenda. That's a law requirement. And
that's when I made it known to our clerk that these applications
it's a question of making it known to the relevant people in the public.
Absolute shambles.
Exactly.
Chair, can I make a point?
Look, this has been a matter of mistakes. This has been a matter of mistakes.
And they should be allowed to be discussed. And I'm sorry, the shambles I've seen during the meeting my council told us tonight, I think that the fellow councillors should call a vote of no confidence. Because if there's errors in the agenda,
is that a councillor?
Excuse me, iPad 3. Could we take this offline, please?
Chair, can I make a point? Can
I ask people if that sounds like Councillor Smith, but can I ask if people would identify themselves? We got so many people from the public who are interjecting all the time that it's become very disorderly, and I don't think that's helping anybody. So I'd be grateful if you can say.
Be quiet, Fam.
Chair, can I ask the clerk a question?
Of course.
Does he consider it that it would be unlawful to do what was being suggested by myself and Councillor Sampson? Or is it a get out?
Well, I consider it would be unlawful.
But you don't tell us what law we're breaking.
The law that says that you have to advertise the business that's to be discussed.
May I make a comment, Chair?
That sounds like Councillor
Moore. We've wasted a lot of time on debate here, and the chairman's word is final in any meeting, and therefore I suggest to expedite matters that we carry on. You obviously have a concern, and I think you should be concerned. Therefore, we should ignore those, defer those items.
May I say something here?
And deal with those things that are correct.
This is Councillor Bashir speaking.
Only councillors of Handforth Parish Council may speak.
I'm Councillor Bashir.
Only councillors of the Handforth Parish Council may speak at this point. So we will drop that item, bring it on to an extraordinary meeting if need be, or if desirable.
No, I totally disagree with that.
And we will move on to item number 11, which is planning application 24330M.
I have no objections or comments to make on this one. There are no objections on the site. And no comments from any highways or anybody.
No.
Same for me. It's a typical extension, typical of the area.
Yes, Chair, it's in keeping with the other properties in the vicinity.
Okay, so we have no objections to that one. Are we all agreed on that? Can we do that?
Correct.
Unanimously?
Agreed.
Yes, agreed.
Agreed.
Okay, unanimous. Okay, number 12 is application 24430M, and that's at...
That's 11, not 12.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm getting confused. As you know, my eyesight just shot to pieces with diabetes, and I find it very difficult to read some of the numbers when they kind of merge into each other. So 24430M, item number 11 on the menu. That's a garage conversion at 4 Bidston Drive. Is that correct? Is everybody happy it's 4 Bidston Drive?
That's right, it is.
Yes, Chair, may I speak?
Councillor Sampson?
Councillor Sampson, there's one objection, and it comes from a person in London, which I found quite bizarre.
And is it a valid sort of an objection?
Well, I don't know. They are wanting to convert the garage into a bedroom, and they need to go through the utility room through to this new bedroom and whatever. And he says there could be a possibility of
Fire hazards.
Possible fire hazards and whatever. I don't have an objection in principle. However, they have to be mindful of their neighbours. And as far as I'm aware, they have not contacted their neighbours to say what they were proposing to do, which I thought was a little bit disrespectful.
You can be as disrespectful as you like in planning applications, and of course he may be in London, but he may actually be a neighbour, I suppose, at other times. Who knows? The question is whether the objection is valid or not, I guess. I don't really know. Not come across that situation before.
Chair, may I speak, Councillor Moore?
Yes, please, yes.
There is a letter from the next door neighbour, which I do have some sympathy with, actually, because this was a garage, and I'm not actually sure whether the person is truly correct in what they're saying, and that they bought a detached property. Well, actually, if the garage is already attached, then it can't be detached. It's a link detached, I think they call it. However, I do have some sympathy with the fact that it was a garage, and now there's a possibility of noise from that room. I just wondered if there was anything in the planning regulations.
Hey guys.
That was just a concern to me generally. I don't have an objection to it. I just thought I was quite sympathetic towards the next door neighbour.
Yes, and I agree with Councillor Moore.
We could express a concern, I guess, couldn't we?
You are right, Brian, you're right.
Very much so. I think we need to take the neighbours' comments into consideration.
I think so. Okay. I would like that to be put on the response.
I think it should be put on the agenda for
any comments from Councillor Smith?
Yeah, I'm of the opposite view, I'm afraid. I think that we don't know the reasons for the garage conversion. It may be that somebody's no longer able to get upstairs, or there may be a very good reason for it, and they may be taking that into account and looking to make sure that someone can stay at home rather than going into a nursing home or something like that. So I think there's another side to look at.
Yeah.
Okay, happy with that. Can I ask if the clerk is able to identify the person who interjects every once in a while with rather...
Yes, and I've just removed them.
Thank you. Can I just say, though, Ashley, that the proper procedure is that
you can vote on it now if you wish.
Hmm?
You can vote on it now retrospectively if you wish.
I don't like retrospective votes, but the procedure, as you know, or you should know, is that the chairman says, identifies the person concerned, and then if it happens again, it goes to a vote of the council. We've had too many rejections in recent times without authority. So I think it's fitting that we should follow the rules if we're asking other people to.
That's only, Chair, if the meeting is in progress, not prior to it.
Well, it is in progress.
Yes, exactly.
Chair, can I just make the point that we've got very, very many members of the public who are unknown to us, and for maybe the first time, who are doing it for a laugh, sort of thing. We could be here all night taking votes on whether to expel somebody from the meeting. I'd just like to make that point.
I don't know what I can do with the point, but thank you. Okay. Right, are we done then?
No, 210412.
No, that's a repeat.
No, that was a repetition.
Okay, thank you, sorry. So we've now got the minutes of the extraordinary planning meeting on the 10th of December.
We've overstretched by a quarter of an hour. We'll be losing people from the full council meeting.
Are we looking at the minutes?
Shall we defer those until the next meeting, then we can have...
Chair, before you... Sorry, Chair, before you say that...
If we're going to have an extraordinary meeting, we can do them then. I'm just very conscious that we've got an awful lot of people who want to be involved or listen to the second meeting.
Yes,
Sorry, can I just interrupt, Chair? Are we not going to vote on any of these applications?
Well, I thought we had as we went along. Did we not agree unanimously on the on those various applications? Do you want to have a vote on any of them?
I don't think there was a vote.
Other than agreeing unanimously? We don't have to have a vote.
Sorry to interrupt, but there's not been a vote on any of them.
You don't have to have a vote if the feeling is unanimous.
Well, it wasn't unanimous on the garage conversion. I was of a different opinion to councillors Moore and Sansom.
Sorry, I hadn't realised that. I thought you were coming up with the same opinion.
No,
Okay.
I actually said that I'm coming at it from the other angle, that garage conversion may be being put in for a very good reason.
So how do you you want to have a vote, and you?
I would vote in favour of the garage conversion,
Right.
rather than against, which is what I felt the other two councillors, I don't know yourself, were of the opinion.
No,
Moore and Sampson, how are you voting on that? If there is
as long as he takes into consideration what the neighbour is wanting, I don't have an objection. But because the neighbour has not been informed, I feel that the applicant is trying to run roughshod. And I agree that Councillor Smith has got a very valid reason for voting it for, especially if there is someone in the household that needs to have a downstairs bedroom.
Councillor Moore?
I have no objections, except I'd like the neighbours' comments to be taken into consideration. But per se, I don't object to the application.
Well, that's how I feel about it. So,
thank you.
Ashley, can you put together a composite set of wording?
Yes.
What will that be?
No objection to the application, but please take into account any neighbour concerns.
Okay.
Councillor Smith, okay with that?
Yes, that's fine, Chair.
Chair, why are we deferring the minutes of the 10th of December? It's most important that we agree them. And even if we've gone over, well, so be it.
Well, if we're having an extraordinary meeting to discuss the planning application, we could do the minutes at the same time, couldn't we? Move on now onto the full council meeting.
Well, I'm a bit unhappy. I think that we should agree these minutes. They've been part of the agenda, and because of whatever, we've not been able to get to them.
Well, there will be some long discussions about those minutes, so I think that it's probably better that we defer them.
I'm sorry to interrupt there, but the item was supposed to be discussed at the start of the meeting. I'm sorry to say,
defer them and close the meeting.
To delay it to the next meeting again, and then possibly delay it again. I think it is important, to discuss them minutes and then potentially approve them or disapprove them.
Brian, Jackie Wheeler would not tolerate this chaos.
So you're proposing to defer it, Councillor?
I am deferring them.
No, we have to have a vote on it.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
You do have to vote for the minutes.
Sorry, Ashley, could you say that again, please?
You have to vote to defer the minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So can I have is there a proposer to defer the minutes? No? Have we got a proposer to defer the minutes?
I have deferred the minutes.
No, you can't. We have to have a vote, Councillor Tolver.
Under what regulation is that?
You've just heard that what the parish clerk has said. We need to vote to defer.
Approve or reject.
We've deferred a planning application.
Read the standing orders, Brian. Read them and understand them.
And which standing order is that?
Chair, I suggest you don't engage with members of the public.
No.
Can we please come to some resolution on this?
Well, I propose that we don't defer the meeting. Can I have a seconder, please?
I second that. Councillor Moore.
All those in favour?
Yes, I'm in favour.
In favour.
In favour.
3 in favour.
So,
Ashley, can I point out for the minutes that it is a requirement, that you note that it's a requirement that there has to be a vote for deferring an item? Could you make that explicit, please?
Yes, you should really vote on anything that you want to defer.
Okay.
Yes, we know that.
Yes.
Thank you.
right, so are we going to discuss the minutes then?
Yeah. Well, Councillor Tolver hasn't said he's for or against. Oh, he's disappeared.
Can we take a vote on the minutes?
Well, I have no objections to the minutes.
I have a question.
I've no objection to the minutes.
No, I think they should stand as they are.
Can I propose that we accept the minutes then, please?
I have a question.
Where's the chairman gone? Where's the chairman gone?
Can we get the vote out of the way?
Yes, I'm proposing. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a question.
I'm in favour of accepting the minutes.
Thank you, so am I.
And I've seconded it, and I'm in favour as well of accepting the minutes as they stand.
Okay.
For the 21st, 10th of December. Thank you.
Very well. In the absence of Councillor, I believe that that is all items closed, is it not?
Yeah, it's finished. That's done.
Therefore, can we move on?
Sorry, Sue, before you just go ahead, can I just ask the clerk to make a note that as from about 1954, 1955 this evening, the chair has seemingly disappeared from his
he's left the Zoom
screen.
Yes, I think everyone should be aware that he may be ill or should actually take some proper process rather than noting when he's left.
Sorry, he's back. He's back.
There we go. Perhaps we should ask him, is he feeling okay, rather than just attacking him throughout the process.
Oh, it's here. Councillor Tolver, you are back. How are you going to close the meeting?
Have we got to that point? Yes.
Yes.
Well, you didn't record your vote about the minutes.
Okay.
Someone should tell Councillor what happened during his absence.
Okay, if we're at the end, then that's good. We can move on to the full council meeting.
Are you aware that we voted on accepting the minutes?
The chairman is missing.
He's back now.
Oh, okay, good.
Chair, are you aware that we voted to accept the minutes as they stand?
I have deferred the minutes, so I don't really see the point of that.
You cannot defer them, Chair. You have to have a vote to defer.
We shall have to find out in the course of time.
And if you're not gonna follow the proper procedure, then how do you expect everybody else to?
You're a hypocrite.
Exactly. I think we should have a vote of no confidence in Councillor Tolver.
Sabina!
I'm not being rude when I say that. We just walk
Pipe down, Lily.
You know, in the middle of the meeting.
Can I ask the members of the public to please keep it down? Chair, perhaps you would ask the proper officer.
I thought we'd got to the point of closing the meeting.
Well, you just closed the meeting.
Not if you're saying that you're deferring.
Just retire.
retire. Jackie Weavers is it.
Chair,
You must understand.
Can we move on?
Chair, can you hear me?
Shall we close the meeting?
Yes, please.
No, we need to know. You
Want to know
cannot.
that this. You are aware that these minutes cannot be deferred without a vote, Chair.
No, I'm not aware of that at all.
All right, can I ask that you speak to the proper officer, to the clerk, and ask his opinion?
No, you may not.
Once again, Brian, if you're not going to follow procedure, then nobody else will do. Why didn't you take a vote, like the clerk has said? And while we're on that subject, why don't we take a vote on the two planning applications that you've also deferred without a vote?
Rick's right there.
Mr. Tolver is following due process.
Councillor Tolver, can you please move the meeting forward or address Councillor Smith's remarks?
I've closed the meeting. I declare the meeting closed.
Thank you.
You don't have the authority, Brian.
Very well. Next.
Okay.
Please refer to me as Britney Spears from now on.
Very good. Are we expecting other people to join
No,
the full council meeting?
no, everyone's here.
Okay.
Chair, I missed before at the start of the previous meeting. You said that Councillor Burkill had sent apologies because he was in a meeting that, as I know, isn't actually taking place and finished at 5. Did you not have any apologies from Councillor Brewerton?
I have told you who I had apologies from.
So that's no apologies received from Councillor Brewerton. Thank you.
I mean, it's possible that Ashley may have received apologies from it. I don't know.
Ashley, did you receive any apologies from Councillor Brewerton?
I hadn't before 7 o'clock.
Okay. And any since?
I'm looking. Can we carry on with the meeting first?
Yep, please. Yep, please. I'd just like that confirming at some stage. Okay, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Right. Can I ask members of the public if you heard me, sorry, if any of you did not hear what I had to say about privacy concerns at the beginning of the previous meeting? Do I need to repeat those for the benefit of anybody who may have joined since that? So I'm happy to repeat them, but obviously I don't want to take your time up.
Chairman, while you're between meetings and standing orders aren't applying, could I ask please that whoever is organising the Zoom meeting ejects the people who are deliberately causing trouble and are here to show off? Some of them are on the main screen. It is completely unacceptable. And can I also ask the other councillors, can you please work with the chairman and stop trying to wind him up? He's in under very difficult circumstances, and I think some of the attitudes that you're showing is disrespectful.
I don't know who this resident is, but I certainly take affront at that. I've always been respectful of the chair.
And so
Chair has not been getting any disrespect from us.
we're trying to keep the meeting on track.
I shall declare the meeting open. I thank that person for the comments, obviously. I don't really know what we do about disruptive members of the audience, but we have to follow the law for that. We can only, sorry, there are standing orders, I should say. Standing order 10B, we can only eject people if they are nominated by the chair and then the council votes on it. It's very unfortunate, and I would ask members of the public to try not to treat it as a comedy. Okay, we move on to the full council meeting. Sorry, I need to get the agenda up on my screen. I can see what I'm talking about. Somewhere, I'm sure. You may have noticed that one of the newspapers described me as having rheumy eyes, R-H-E-U-M-Y eyes, which I thought was a particularly intelligent comment. It's actually true, of course. It's one of the side effects of having been diabetic for 40-something years. Okay, so the first item on the agenda is apologies for absence, and I presume that's the same as before. Then we have the declaration of any pecuniary or non-pecuniary interests. Does anybody have anything to say about that?
None, Chair.
Thank you.
Councillor Moore, none.
Thank you.
Smith, none.
Was that Smith, sorry? Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And I have none. Okay, open forum. Again, members of the public may speak or ask questions about items that are on the agenda. I would ask you to note that there's a 15-minute session for discussing items that are not on the agenda later on. So we will restrict this to items, this particular piece, to items that are on the agenda, just so we can move things on a bit. Okay, anybody got anything to ask or to say? Any of
yes, please.
The public? Okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Could you state your name, please?
Roger Small, South Ward resident.
Thank you.
I'd like to suggest some changes to the minutes. They're minor changes. The minutes of the last meeting, they're minor changes, but I think they're important. I'm referring to item 21038, paras B and C there. I'd like to point out that during that last meeting, we stated that as regards the list of projects in the neighbourhood plan, that list did not or was not constructed in any order of priority. Secondly, that with regard to the final amount of monies to be received by Handforth Parish Council, either through S106 or SIL payments, we pointed out that the Parish Council may have to meet in the future two relatively large bills. One will be a bill related to completion of the station car park, and the other one might be a bill related to the widening of the southern footpath on Station Road. I think those two bills have to be borne in mind, that they may come about. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Anybody else? No, good.
David Pincombe has his hand up. David. David, you're on mute. Could you please unmute yourself? David, we can't hear you at the moment. Could you unmute? There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you, David.
Okay, fine, thanks. Right, it's item 21058, and it's regarding the motion to consider a payment of £10,000 per annum to help subsidise the 130 bus route. Could I just say that this bus service over the last 3 years, as we all know, has been unsuccessful in terms of being able to stand on its own merits. It's always required some sort of subsidy. And what I'd like to understand is that the amount of money, if Handforth are putting in, is £10,000, could someone advise what the other councils in the area are also putting in, and what percentage of that is the Handforth £10,000?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I answer that,
Yes,
Chair?
the person to answer that might be Councillor Smith.
Yes, I can't give you an answer now, David, but I can give you a full answer on the, or as full as possible, on the, when we get to the actual agenda item.
Thank you.
That's acceptable.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Chair, could I extend discussion on that point? If the parish council are going to contribute £10,000 per annum to this, subsidising this bus route, will the parish council get a say in the actual route itself? Will this bus go through the Spath Lane loop, for example? And how? What will be the frequency of the bus service?
I'm unable to answer that question myself, because the original intention from the Deputy Leader of Cheshire East was to have a meeting with all of the councillors, but somehow or other it ended up with only councillors Moore and Sampson and Smith being there. The other three, that's myself and Bruton and Burkill, were supposed to have a meeting, a Zoom meeting with him, and I've lost track of time, but 2 weeks ago, say roughly. And he had to cancel from that. So we haven't had the benefit of this discussion. We are kind of in ignorance of what's been discussed, other than in broad brush terms. So
can I ask, Chair?
I think I'm going to, I am going to suggest that we have a bit of a discussion on that item on the agenda and ask for it to be deferred until we've had an opportunity to speak to the Deputy Leader.
Chairman, sorry.
But anyway, let's deal with that when we get to that item on the agenda. Let's keep with the open.
Chairman, could I just speak there, please? You were invited to a meeting on Saturday, as were all councillors.
Which Saturday? No,
in fact, Chair, we had a meeting arranged with the Deputy Leader on the Thursday evening. Then we were told that you were not attending that, you were attending a meeting on the Saturday. So we said, right, well, forget our meeting. We'll join in with your meeting on the Saturday with the Deputy Leader. And we were the only three that turned up. So there was a meeting arranged. We fell in with the meeting that you were going to be attending. But then when we attended it, yourself, Councillor Brewerton and Councillor Burkill didn't show. So I'd just like to correct that, because you mentioned that you weren't able to have that meeting. Well, we changed our plans so that we had all the parish council there, so that we could have a good discussion and see each other's point of view before we brought it to full council tonight. But unfortunately, because of just the three of us being there, we're unable to do that.
It seems like there's been a monumental muck-up.
Well, if that's what you want to call it. It was people not attending the meeting that they were intending to.
Well, what do
Councillor Brown is expecting you.
Are we going to argue about what it should be called?
No, we'll ignore it and we'll go ahead, please.
So we're still in the open forum. So does any other member of the public?
Chairman, might I raise a question, please? I'd like to ask in relation to item 21054, which is approving and signing the minutes of the Handforth Parish Council Extraordinary Meeting of 21st of January 2021. Why, during that meeting, was Jackie Weaver allowed to dismiss the chairman from the meeting when the chairman is the only one with that power? and when Jackie Weaver was not a council member and only in attendance. And based on that, as the chairman and vice chairman were both evicted from the extraordinary meeting and unable to vote at that meeting, does that meeting now become null and void?
No, it does not.
Well,
I didn't ask you, I asked the chairman.
I would agree with you.
Well, perhaps I'd like to speak on that then, Chair.
And I.
Well, shall we do it in the course of the discussion of that item? This is still the open forum.
Yes, okay. When we're approving and signing the minutes, yes, by all means.
Could I make a point, please?
I don't know who's speaking.
It's Alan. So, right. What's the process to, make a complaint, about individuals, who, how can I put it diplomatically, are not following, the standing orders, who unfortunately were ejected due to the disgraceful behaviour in the last few meetings, and who in this meeting tonight, one of them has, walked off the meeting because didn't agree with, what was being voted on with the minutes. How do we go about making, a complaint? Because, the last meeting, the three people that were ejected were every right to be ejected. And as everyone knows, Jackie Weaver was, invited to chair the meeting and give advice because she's on the chair of Cheshire, parish council something or other.
Only a councillor.
Process on raising a complaint because to be honest, and no disrespect, your actions, Councillor Tolver, have been wholly unacceptable, including tonight when you've not voted on things that all the councillors haven't agreed with. You've tried to just not discuss the previous minutes. Unfortunately, this is why I've noticed from the minutes there's lots of things that are being brought up from months ago, where instead of just being allowed to be discussed, like them two plan applications from earlier.
Can't really hear what you're saying, I'm afraid. So I think your microphone.
So basically, what I'm saying is, unfortunately, as Councillor Tolver, you're one of the persons whose behaviour in the previous meetings was unacceptable, and as tonight you're not following standing orders and you're clearly trying to just drag business onto an extra meeting next week instead of being able to discuss it tonight, bearing in mind that the council is for the needs of the residents. How does someone raise complaints about you're unacceptable and the other councillors, none of which here tonight I had, unacceptable behaviour?
I can get the sort of general drift that you're unhappy about what you're calling unacceptable behaviour.
I'm very unhappy, and it's, for example, earlier you walked off when you didn't agree with the fact that there was going to be a vote on approving the meetings from the previous meeting.
Well, maybe
and that's not acceptable, and then you disagreed with what the clerk said when, he's called for a vote. That is unacceptable. It's not following the standing orders, which you keep discussing yourself.
I'm just not hearing enough of what you say. I get general kind of drift of what you're saying, but I can't hear enough to be specific about your specific points.
And Councillor Moore, Smith or Sampson, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
On that?
Can I speak?
If you agree or disagree with what I stated?
This is Councillor Sampson here. I'd like to respond to iPad 3. Firstly, Jackie Weaver did not chair the meeting. She clerked the meeting. Also, she is not the chair of Cheshire East. She is a senior officer at CHALC, which is the advisory body that town and parish councils can go to for advice and professional legal items. They are looked after by NALC, which is the National Association for Local Councils, And I can assure you that any meetings that we have called, either extraordinary or not, we have always checked the legalities of them before we called them. Thank you.
And may I just...
I would agree with what you said, except that NALC isn't a supervisory body for Chalk.
May I just interject at this point, because Councillors Moore and Smith and Councillor Brewerton have had emails from me regarding the legality. They've had legal advice from me regarding the legality of calling that meeting illegal.
Ashley, could you mute that person, please?
Alan Murdoch, I believe you have a question.
I mean, you can't just mute me. I'm asking you.
Ashley, would you mute that person, please?
I'm just asking you.
I thought you wanted to vote on that, Chair.
I was trying to speak to
Councillors Smith and Councillors Moore have had legal advice from me regarding the legality of calling
Ashley,
the last meeting illegal.
Ashley, could you please mute people whilst I just respond to what Councillor Sampson said? Thank you.
Yeah.
Dogecoin to the moon.
Councillor Sampson said that Chalk are, I forgot what the phrase was now, but basically managed or monitored or supervised by NALC.
Brian, you've just muted yourself while you're talking. We can't hear you.
Councillor Sampson, would I be able to respond to you, please?
Brian, you're talking, but you're currently muted.
Chama, you got something to say on this?
Chairman, you're muted. Better.
Chama James.
I don't know how that happened. I haven't touched anything.
That's better.
Thank you. Okay, so I was just making the point that NALC are not a supervisory organisation for Chalk or any of the other ALCs.
Yes, they are. No. Councillor Tolver.
Well, that's what they denied to us when we asked them to intervene.
Well, I've not seen that evidence, but I do know that the National Association of Local Councils are the body that supervises Chalk and all the other local bodies that deal with...
I don't know why they would have given me a different answer from the one they gave to you, but that's...
Well, did they give it you in an email?
Well, I didn't ask them to.
How did they give it to you?
I was just talking to them.
Would you be able to just explain what NALC and Chalk are, please?
Okay. Chalk is Cheshire Association of Local Councils. They operate within the Cheshire area, that's Cheshire West as well as Cheshire East. These various ALCs around the country are independent organisations. I was going to call them companies, but I don't know. I think they're, formally speaking, associations. They're not publicly authorised bodies like councils. I mean, you could set up your own ALC if you wanted to, is really what I'm saying. But they tend to operate one for each county. And their essential purpose is to, or the way they earn their corn, is to give advice and support and training to local councils, town and parish councils. NALC is the National Association of Local Councils. It does the same sort of job on a national basis. But as I said, when I've spoken to them, they have denied having supervisory control over the local county ALCs. So they are self-listed companies. And that's
Chair,
what I can say about them.
Chair, can I just say that you've answered the question? Can we accept that? So, you know, it does take a while, but can we please move on?
I believe Alan Murdoch, you have a question. You're muted currently.
We've got the minutes here of the 21st of January meeting. What's happened to the minutes of the 12th of January? There were some important issues on that, like the accessibility statement on the website and so on, that were never resolved.
Okay.
Has anyone seen minutes of the 12th of January?
No.
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 I think Councillor Brewerton was clerking that until he had an unavoidable important meeting to go to. So presumably he would be doing the minutes for up until the point he was pulled away.
It was a
follow that up.
If I remember rightly, Councillor Moore brought up a point about the accessibility statement, that the one that was wanted to be used was the incorrect one and wasn't, more detailed one. So I agree with Councillor Moore's previous point that we should, adopt a more detailed accessibility statement, which, actually should be used, for the parish council, and not the small one with a few lines that was proposed. I think that was you, Councillor Moore, that said that it was the wrong one that was going to be used previously. I remember.
Okay, look, we've spent quite considerably more than the 50 minutes allotted on this item. So
could I just ask, is somebody going to follow up?
I think we'll move on now to item number 4 on the agenda. That's to approve and sign the minutes.
I'm sorry, it's
parish council meeting
of
the 21st of January.
Can I assume, as my question wasn't answered, it will be brought up by Councillors Moore or Smith as part of the agenda, as part of approving the agenda items regarding approving the minutes regarding the legality of calling the previous meeting illegal?
Yes, can I answer that, Chair?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. I was concentrating on the...
Councillors Moore and Smith have my legal advice on it.
Can I? We agreed at whilst we were in the open forum, that we would wait until we were getting to the signing of the minutes, where I would make you aware of what I had to say regarding those minutes, based on, I think it was the member of the public asking about the legality claims that you made. So may I go ahead, Chair?
Councillor Smith, would you be including the accessibility statement within what you have to say as well? Or is that
are we discussing the minutes?
Because the accessibility statement was from the meeting of the 12th of January, which was chaired by Councillor Tolver, and the minutes were partially taken by Councillor Brewerton.
Are we discussing the minutes of the 21st of January or not?
Yes, please. That's why I was asking you if I could do that, because the question was asked about the legality claims that you made. And on the beginning of each of the 2 meetings, you stated that the meetings were unlawful. You actually said this meeting has not been called according to the law. The law has been broken. There are very specific conditions for calling an EXO meeting, and these have not been met.
Correct.
They are specified in Standard Orders 17B and in law.
Correct.
It has to be called by the chairman or has to be requisitioned by 2 councillors applying to the chair.
Yes.
I have received no such requisition.
Correct.
Councillor Moore, with my name at the bottom of the email as well, sent an email to you requesting that you call an extraordinary meeting on the 25th of November.
But you didn't.
We received no reply.
You didn't provide an agenda.
She also requested on the 28th of November, but you didn't reply. Another email was sent on the 30th of November, which you didn't reply. And then another one on Tuesday, the 1st of December, which you didn't reply to. And then on Friday, the 4th of December, an agenda was issued to all councillors. It was posted to all HPC notice boards, and both our names were on the bottom of that agenda. Then the meeting actually took place on Thursday, the 10th of December. And we all know that meeting. So there were 4 occasions of emails, Chair, that you didn't reply to. You said you haven't received
but
them.
in none of them did you provide me with an agenda.
Excuse me,
That's
there
right.
is
An
no
agenda
requirement
is
in our
not
standing
necessary.
orders.
It
Excuse me,
doesn't say
Councillor
that.
Smith.
Sorry.
Councillor Smith, may I just interrupt 1 second there?
Please
There
do.
is no requirement in the standing orders or in the 1972 Act that says you have to provide an agenda. You do not have to provide an agenda. We were simply asking for permission, as put down and stated quite clearly in our standing orders. And we were trying to continue with Handforth Parish Council responsibilities and keeping matters moving whilst the clerk was suspended. And that was the sole purpose of that meeting. Nothing else at all. And I don't see why you would not respond to my emails. But having said that, Councillor Tolver, neither yourself, Councillor Birkhill or Councillor Brereton respond.
How would it be possible
Sick burn
for me to advertise a meeting on the public notice board, your extraordinary meetings, without you providing me with an agenda in the right time frame?
You don't
Chairman,
have to.
That, Chair, sorry, Cynthia, can I just say, Chair? Sorry, Chair, that is irrelevant because the standing orders, on the Handforth standing orders, 17B, extraordinary meetings. It says, if the chairman of the council does not or refuses to call an extraordinary meeting of the council within 7 days of having been requested to do so by 2 councillors, those 2 councillors may... Ashley, would you mind? Those 2 councillors may convene an extraordinary meeting of the council. The statutory public notice giving the time, venue and agenda for such a meeting must be signed by the 2 councillors, which had our name at the bottom. However, that is all that it says. Chair, I'm speaking, Chair. With respect, Chair, I'm still speaking.
You're interrupting the Chair.
Chair, I'm still speaking.
What do you think?
Chair, I will finish what I'm saying.
Oh, will you?
Yes. Please have some respect for me rather than it just being the one way. The standing orders make no mention whatsoever about having to supply an agenda with the request.
Well, what do you think a request for an extraordinary meeting is, if it doesn't include an agenda?
If you wished it to include that, then you should have altered the standing orders to say so. We were simply following standing orders and protocol.
You were following the most minimal interpretation. It's an interpretation.
Not at all.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's an interpretation that makes no sense.
I might remind you, Councillor Tolver, that I've requested on more than one occasion why, in an email, why you have decided to call the meeting illegal, which you can't do actually. You would have to go to a court of law, I believe, to do that. However, that's irrelevant. I asked you for the reasons why you wanted the meeting to be called illegal. And you said to me, I will refer you to the 1972 Act. Well, let me tell you something, Councillor Tolver. Over the last 7, 8, 9 months, I have become extremely familiar with the 1972 Act. I have read it in connection with the suspension and the, what I can only call a witch hunt of the clerk. And I know that inside out. And there is nothing in that 1972 Act that any of the councillors here have gone against. Everything has been perfectly legal and done, double-checked, triple-checked to ensure that we weren't doing anything incorrectly. And I find your behaviour obstructive. We are trying to do Handforth Parish Council business. That's all we're trying to do.
Yes,
I agree with Susan.
I speak, I think this is a very aggressive attack on the chair. Whilst you may voice your opinion on your interpretation of the legality, I don't think it should be discussed in further more detail, but I think you should, councillors, treat him with more respect, because this is coming across as a bullying attitude.
Tolver hasn't called a meeting since March of 2020.
Well said, Councillor Moore, well said.
Can I just say that I find Councillor Tolver's behaviour towards the other councillors absolutely disgraceful. The last meetings weren't illegal. The 3 councillors, including Councillor Tolver, were ejected due to their behaviour. And can I ask of the other councillors, maybe including the clerk, would you possibly look into a vote of no confidence against Councillor Tolver? Because he's, showing the same sort of behaviour and disrespect towards not only yourselves as councillors, but as the general public as well. So is that something the councillors would look into? Vote no confidence? Because honestly, as the chairman and the councillor of the parish council, Councillor Tolver's behaviour is absolutely disgraceful. Hence why I said earlier,
can we move on and achieve something, please?
May I speak?
Councillor Smith and Moore have my legal advice regarding.
He's not been bullying at all, and I think this is
So if they want to use the legal advice I've given them, and I assume Councillor Smith was working towards that, and I'm guessing, is that right, Councillor Smith? You're working towards that?
Thank you for your comments, but we're trying to negotiate a very narrow path where we are staying within the law, where we are not quoting the law that we don't understand or have relevance with. But there are a number of issues that, well, I'm looking for the chair.
Is he still gone?
Is the chair still here?
He's there. He's falling asleep listening to you lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So chair.
Shall we go back to shall we go back to the discussion of the minutes?
Yes, but I mentioned in that early discussion about the emails that were sent to you.
Shall we have
I'm just wondering why you didn't respond to them.
Shall we have a discussion about the minutes?
Can I nominate Alan Murdoch to take over?
No, I think you should answer Councillor Smith's question and not be obstructed. Councillor Smith has come up with a very good question about the minutes.
How long are councillors Moore and Smith and Sampson willing to prolong this item on the agenda?
Chair, you took about 5 minutes discussing chalk earlier.
My view is that
What's your view on not supplying information, Chair?
My view is that the meetings were illegal because they weren't called properly according to the law that requires a requisition to be made. And to me, the only way a requisition for an extraordinary meeting can be sensibly made is if it includes an agenda.
That is not the case, Chair. That is not the case whatsoever.
Incorrect.
So I would like to have an extraordinary meeting on
Unfortunately,
but I'm not going to tell you what's in it. Is that the way you think it works?
Councillor Tolver, may I ask a question?
Can I just ask?
We called this meeting today. Why aren't you calling this meeting illegal?
Well, it probably is, but let's just try and be sensible and get some business.
How is that?
So you're now calling a meeting
These
illegal.
people, let's be civil.
So it's only illegal if Councillor Brewerton envisaged council states it so. It's only illegal when Brewerton's envisaged barrister says it's.
I have a question for Ashley, the clerk.
Can I point out how much time we're wasting here?
Yes, it's a lot,
well,
isn't
I'm
it?
sorry, but you're the one wasting time.
Could we take a 5-minute break to make a cup of tea?
How do you call no confidence in this?
Chair, I'd like to make a comment, please. Councillor Cynthia Sampson.
And is it about?
Yes. We called this meeting tonight with an agenda. At no time when you started to chair it did you say it was illegal. But every other meeting we have called, whether it be extraordinary or on the calendar, you have deemed them to be illegal. You have never given us evidence to say why they are illegal. It is your opinion. We took advice. We took professional advice.
And have you got that written?
Now, unfortunately,
Councillor Smith and Moore have my legal advice.
Unfortunately,
can I suggest, if you want to contest my having an opinion, that you get written legal advice?
No,
all I'm asking for is part of the Brewerton.
But you've taken.
I propose that we do a vote of no confidence in Councillor Tolver because he's clearly not fit for the position.
I agree.
Of chair. And I'm not being rude, and that is just with actions from tonight, never mind the previous meetings. So can one of the councillors please answer the question? How do we do a vote of no confidence in Councillor Tolver?
You would have to get people to put it on the agenda.
Right, well,
Now we know what's on the next agenda then, don't we, boys and girls?
You have to put it on the agenda.
Now then.
I definitely agree as well.
Chair, I'd just like to make a comment to that member of the public that it doesn't matter what happens on a vote of no confidence, it can just be ignored by the subject of that vote of no confidence, unfortunately.
Sick burn.
Ignore it.
What?
Epic.
How do we then raise a complaint or, put in a motion to remove Councillor Tolver as the chair?
Excuse me.
Because I'm sorry, it's,
There's no
it's got obstructive behaviour.
Please.
Can someone mute iPad 3?
Yeah.
Can we have some order, please?
Yeah. Councillor Cynthia Sampson, I'd just like to make another comment. The reason why this all came about is because the parish clerk, Ashley Kaminsky Dawson, was suspended with no formal disciplinary hearing, and because we supported Ashley, that's why this is all broken down. And I'm sorry, this is not very...
Clark, can you mute everybody, please?
Could I please ask?
Can we have some order, please?
No, I just muted everyone.
Hello.
Just saying it's really helpful. When you mute someone, they can unmute.
This is Councillor Cynthia Sampson. I'd just like to make people aware in the public gallery the reason why a lot of this has happened, and it was because of the treatment of our parish clerk. Our parish clerk is now back in harness. Thank you, Ashley, for clarifying. And I want people to know that Ashley committed no misdemeanor, no misconduct, and no evidence was forthcoming to support that so-called suspension.
Ash, can I ask the clerk? Ashley, can you?
That's a shame, Brian.
Can you mute the offenders, please, without a vote?
I totally agree.
I suggest you take a vote. I can mute everybody and they will not be able to mute themselves.
I'd just like to say myself, Ashley seems a thoroughly delightful chap. We've been in communication the last couple of days. He seems very nice to me.
He is, but unfortunately that's not for discussion at the moment.
Well, Camden be in the next meeting.
I just wanted to put it out there.
I'd love it.
We couldn't run a back, never mind a meeting.
This has done so much for local politics awareness. Like, I'm looking into joining my own parish council now, actually.
I'll join with you.
You don't know where I live, so...
Can we get back to the minutes, please?
Here.
Please, thank you.
Where's the chair?
The chair is muted again. I believe the chair is trying to speak. But
this is an absolute clusterfuck.
This is a
shambles.
shambles.
No confidence in the clerk.
Chair, you're muted.
What an omni shambles!
Oh, Tamar is blushing now.
Chair, you're unmuted now if you wish to speak.
I'd just like to say I've been fairly polite tonight.
This is
Chair, are you going to carry on?
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for everybody to come back to order.
Well, you'll be waiting a long time, Chair.
Well, you've been waiting a long time. You've been the one doing the talking for much of the time.
Yes, but unfortunately, Chair, without getting any answers from you, you refuse to answer accept the questions that you want to answer. You don't answer people's questions.
Can we please get on with the agenda?
Yes.
Can I propose that we accept the minutes of the meeting on Thursday, the 21st of January?
Well, I have an objection to part of it.
Okay. I've proposed, can I have a seconder, please?
I'd second that, Cynthia.
I have an objection to the part that says that I unexpectedly left the meeting.
It's back to front.
I think it's backwards, Brian.
The what?
Back to front, Brian.
What do you mean?
Well, when you hold it up to the camera, it's back to front.
Go right.
Not to him, it isn't.
I'm trying to read it.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I'm very glad people know how mirrors work.
It's because I have to use a magnifying glass. So it's the bit that says Councillor Tolver unexpectedly left the meeting. It was the meeting unexpectedly left Councillor Tolver.
That's not the case, Chair. No. I was actually asking you. I was asking you a question.
Councillor Smith, are we respecting each other or not?
Please go ahead.
I was speaking. I can't remember the particular context, the particular words that I was saying, but I was speaking to somebody and the screen went blank.
No, Chair. Well, I was asking you a question. I was asking you a question of what you considered was illegal about the meeting of the 21st of January.
Well,
and I asked you the question and then you were nowhere.
Lying on the floor, passed out.
It was not the clerk who disconnected you. I was in the middle of asking you a question and then you went. You will remember that there was only you there because Councillors Brewerton and Burkill didn't attend that meeting. You attended it for a short space of time, enough time to meeting was illegal. Chair, will you respect me now, please?
I'm telling you what happened from my perspective.
Will you respect me now, please?
Come on, guys, respect each other.
Will you respect me now, please? That happens on each of those 3 meetings, the 2 on the 10th and the 1 on the 21st. You're there long enough to antagonize people by saying that the meeting is illegal for non-correct reasons, and then you just disappeared on the 3rd one because your other councillors weren't there with you. And that's what happened, Chair, and that's why we were wondering where you'd gone. Because
that's why I've given you legal advice, Councillor Smith.
You know that I was ejected by Jackie Weaver pressing the Zoom.
That's not true.
Let me just state this. In the first meeting, she moved you into the...
Who is going to have a chance to speak here if we keep talking over each other?
Okay, well, I'll just say this and I'll finish it then, Chair, and pass it completely to you.
At the first meeting... Could you let me finish first, please? Because I did start first.
Go on then.
The first meeting on December the 10th was the Planning Committee, and I was reading from a prepared statement that I had written down. I got 2.5 sentences into that, and I was muted by Jackie Weaver. I didn't realise I was muted. I carried on speaking. I didn't realise that could happen. I continued speaking, although of course I'd been silenced for a portion of what I was saying. She spoke to me, I can't remember the words, but she argued with me about something.
No, she didn't argue with you, Councillor Tolver.
Please,
she told you that the meeting was legal and you disputed it.
Also, Councillor Tolver, may I just ask why you needed a prepared statement?
So you may ask and I will answer it in a moment. But I want to finish what I was saying first, if you'll excuse me.
Hello. Hi.
I've just
on a call at the minute now.
I was reading the statement and there was some dialogue with Ms. Weaver, who incidentally was speaking out of turn because nobody is allowed to speak under those circumstances, as you know. and I don't know why, but she pressed the mute button, and she has said as much in interviews on television, I believe.
Oh, bitter.
And
I mean, I think it was fairly
so-
obvious why she did that, to be fair on her.
Sorry, could you be quiet, please, member of the public, and let him finish?
Muggle, shut up.
Sorry.
I presume she didn't like what I was saying, but she had no right to exclude me, however much she disliked it, is my point.
Correct.
It's for, once the meeting has started, it's for councillors to decide, and through the chair, who is to speak at any one point in time. You might not think it from some of the things that have gone on in this meeting so far this evening, but that's how it is. Councillors and members of the public should only speak via the chair. It's not a power trip, it's just the way that a democratic system runs in an orderly fashion. Otherwise, you have disorder and chaos, as we've seen this evening. So
it would be if the
that was the situation there. She muted me, and she acknowledges the fact, as I understand it.
No, that is not
Oh,
true.
Cynthia, please wait till he finishes.
And then in the second meeting that evening, the full council meeting, we resumed about 3/4 of an hour after the first one. And I was upset about that, the fact that I'd been muted and excluded entirely from the meeting. And I was asking her what she had done and why. And that ended up with her ejecting me from the second meeting, again without any lawful authority. I'm sure the solicitor chap who was amongst our number there would agree with me on that. On both of those meetings, councillors Burkill and Brereton were unhappy that I'd been ejected, sensibly so, I should say, and they ended up being ejected by her also. Now, she may not have liked what was being said and the manner in which it was said, but the manner in which anybody, councillors or members of the public, may be ejected from a meeting is that the chairman says he finds that the behaviour of a particular person is discourteous, and asks that person to stop doing that. And then if that behaviour continues, he puts it to a vote of all of the councillors there present, and they by majority decide whether that person should be excluded from the meeting. There is no circumstance in which any one individual person may eject, not even the chair, may eject anybody from the meeting. That's standing order 10A and 10B collectively of our standing orders, and that's common for all councils across the country. Well, I haven't read them all.
Order!
Emma, you're beautiful.
Councillor Torver, may I ask a sincere question, please?
So sorry, can I just state that I've been waiting for the chair to finish what he was saying?
Well, I was then going to finish by saying on each occasion of those two, I was speaking and the eject button was pressed and my screen went blank. On the meeting of the, I've lost track now, of the, whatever it was, 21st of January, from my perspective, exactly the same thing happened. I was speaking, or perhaps I had just finished speaking and Councillor Smith had started again or something, I don't know, I don't remember. And the screen went blank.
May I speak now, Chair?
Yes, please.
Jackie Weaver did state at one stage when you came in and said the meeting is illegal, that if there is a question of the legality of a meeting, it should be brought up before the meeting commences in order so that you can have discussion about it. But what happens is that you came into the meeting on the 10th, or the planning and environment meeting, you stated that the meeting is illegal. Jackie Weaver then said, no, the meeting has been called correctly by 2 councillors. And you said, no, it's illegal. And you continued to say it was illegal. And then that's when voices start getting rowdy.
No,
and
no,
there were disrupting. Will you let me finish, Chair?
You're making an incorrect statement.
No, I'm not.
No, it's
Watch.
Order.
Watch the video. Now, following
Let's
further
go,
comments,
gents.
Jackie Weaver placed the 3 councillors in the Zoom waiting room. When she returned to the waiting room to ask if the councillors would cease the abusive comments, if admitted back into the meeting, you'd left. She hadn't clicked the button to send you out. She'd put you in the waiting room and then came back to ask if you would stop.
What does that look
will
like?
you please
Let
me
him
finish?
speak.
Please let me finish, Chair.
What do you think the waiting room looks like? I mean,
I don't care what the waiting room looks like. She placed you in there.
The screen went
no,
blank.
just, Chair, will you let me finish?
Oh my God.
Being a bit
The
hypocritical.
3 councillors were not kicked out. You disconnected yourself from the Zoom meeting. And after that, the planning meeting continued normally. At the start of the HPC meeting later that evening at 7:40, the first thing you said again is, effectively, you're not going to throw me out. This meeting is illegal. Again, you're saying that the validity of the meeting is in question. And Jackie then said, the meeting has been called correctly by 2 councillors, but you didn't accept that. And then followed the tirade of bullying abuse that everybody in the world and his brother have seen.
I think
and then she put she again put, yeah, it's annoying, isn't it? The clerk then placed you in the waiting room again and came back in and asked the 3 councillors left, Samson, Moore and myself, if we would like you invited back into the meeting. And we said, well, no, they're just going to be obstructive again because your concern was that it was an illegal meeting. So we voted not to allow you back in. She did not kick you out. We voted you out. And then in the meeting on the 21st of January, again, you come into the meeting straight away. Councillors Burkle and Brewerton were not present at the meeting. I don't think you were there for intending to be there long. You made your normal statement that the meeting was illegal. And I was actually asking you, please state, Chair, what exactly is illegal about the meeting? And then you disappeared. Jackie Weaver didn't throw you out. You left of your own volition.
Let's go back and have you finished?
No, that's all I've got to say.
Here, John Smith.
Yeah.
So, and you've still not answered why you don't answer emails from Councillor Moore about requests for.
Shall we stop changing the subject for a moment?
No, let's move on. Let's move on. We've discussed the minutes.
Let him finish.
Chair, you've had your 5 minutes. I've had my 5 minutes. Can I suggest we move on?
I have much to dispute in what Councillor Smith just said.
Go on.
I'm sure you have.
I don't really want to bore everybody, but he was wrong on just about every single point he raised.
May I
explain how he was wrong?
I would, if people would kindly be quiet.
May I put forward something that's actually polite? May I put forward that as a motion? Is that acceptable to everyone?
That's
Sorry.
acceptable.
No, it's not on the agenda. Sorry.
I mean, I believe.
Do not assume my gender.
Councillors Smith and Moore know my opinion, and that's my opinion on the law and everything else. I would like.
Is this man a councillor?
I would like to maybe say, Councillor Tolver, as an adult man.
Come on, Joe.
Would you like to maybe apologise for your previous discourse? Because I read the standing orders and there is no way.
Who is in charge of the mute?
There's no way of.
Ashley,
actually,
would you like to have a vote and mute everybody?
There's no way of actually putting the rules you put against kicking other people out against the chairman. I've read the standing orders. I've seen that. Jackie Weaver had no other choice. There was no rules in your standing orders about how you kick a chairman out. So I wonder if, as a respectable man, you might like to apologise for your previous discourse, that's all.
Ashley, are you there?
Yes. Are you going to vote on whether to mute the participants during your debate?
You can mute me or kick me out. I'm just trying to be the voice of reason, and I think that's acceptable.
Well, Jackie's not here, so you're not.
None of this benefits the residents of Handforth.
Exactly.
Who is that?
Alan Murdoch.
Don't think so.
Can we continue, please?
I'm sorry, this is going to sound slightly ironic, but the clerk has now asked 3 times if the councillors would like to vote on whether the members of the public should all be muted. And I think they should, because that is what's causing the disruption. So I'm sorry I interjected to say that, but he doesn't seem to be able to get that through.
I say yes, Ashley. Ashley, I'd say yes, please.
You're in favour?
Yes, I'm in favour.
No confidence.
No.
That's not irony.
Why does ET have the authority?
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, Ashley. Chairman, if you respond to the message that Ashley has sent you, you can unmute yourself. In the middle of the screen, it should be.
Yeah. Anybody, any idea why that keeps happening?
You keep pressing the button.
No, Ashley's muted everybody, and he's given us permission to unmute ourselves
All right.
to avoid interjections.
Okay, thank you.
So can we get on to the next item?
Right. So I was trying to say before I muted myself, or was muted, or whatever it was, that I will not, as chairman, be prepared to sign these minutes as you have passed them.
That's okay, Councillor Tolver. If you vote against it, the vice chair or anybody in the meeting tonight can sign them off to say that they're a true and accurate record. And as the person who chaired the meeting was Councillor Smith, so he can sign them off.
No, if you look at the standing orders, you will see that if I
you don't control the council, Councillor Tolver. You are only the chair.
Councillor Sampson, would you please?
I'm sorry. If we take a vote to say that we accept the minutes, the chair of that meeting was Councillor Smith.
I'm trying to explain to you the standing orders. If the chair is not content with the minutes, he may make a statement in those minutes to that effect.
But you weren't at that meeting,
But you weren't at the meeting.
But I am present at this one.
But you weren't at the last one.
Doesn't matter.
I'm present at this one, and I was present at that one until the point where my alleged...
You walked out, Chair.
You walked out.
Yes, but I was present until that point. Do you call it
walking
out?
Yeah, but you walked out. You weren't muted. You weren't thrown out.
Please, we are voting on the minutes as they are written, not what happened at the meeting.
Correct.
Please,
can I propose that we we accept these minutes, please?
I vote in favour.
In favour.
In favour. Anyone against?
Me.
And one against. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley.
Can I have that as a named vote, please, Ashley? And
yes.
I will be adding as chair my reasons for as chair for not signing the minutes.
Please.
No, I'm sorry, Councillor Todd. You weren't in attendance to that at that.
Shall we move on, Brian?
Yes, please.
You need to look at the standing orders.
Yes, correct. You do.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, where have we got to?
Order of payments.
Couldn't sign the order of payments, right? Anybody, is anybody forwarding this item?
Forwarding?
Well, proposing, I should say.
I'll propose that we accept it.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favour?
In favour.
In favour.
I shall abstain.
Could I ask why, Chair?
No.
You're abstaining from the order of payments.
Yes.
Would that be a normal thing to do?
Do we discuss these things?
Can we
I
move
think
on to the next item, item 6?
I didn't challenge you for your reasons for voting in favour of it. You don't.
Yeah, that's because we were there and we witnessed it.
You don't challenge me for my reasons for abstaining.
It wasn't a challenge, it was just a question, Chair.
I think it sounded rather like a challenge, but never mind.
No, it was a question.
Okay, item 6. To retrospectively agree
Shall I read it, Chair?
That would be very kind of you.
Motion 21056 to retrospectively agree the secondment of officers for Handforth Parish Council for the purposes of its functions under LGA 1972, that's Local Government Act 1972, Section 113 brackets 1 close brackets, and Local Government Act 1972, Section 113 brackets 2 close brackets, specifically for meetings held on the 25th and 27th of August 2020, and also the 10th of December 2020 and 21st of January 2021.
Why did we need to do this retrospectively?
You didn't do it beforehand.
Yes, but the implication seems to be that we did something that we ought not to have done, and now we want to give ourselves sort of the legal backing for having done it.
Yes, there was a situation where Councillor Brewerton was explaining how our meetings were also illegal because we hadn't taken a vote on who to have as clerk, if you recollect that.
And what's that got to do with Section 113? Section 113 is where we would second
Yes.
a member of our staff to somebody else.
Or that yourself and David Naylor, he was not sworn in, if you like, as you've been doing at the previous meetings with Councillor Brewerton, that he is then agreed as the clerk for the meeting, and for the meetings on the 10th of December and 21st of January. We didn't do that for Jackie Weaver. So now
Section 113 is for us allowing or agreeing for our staff to be seconded to somebody else, not for somebody else to be seconded to us.
Can I check with the clerk on that, please, Ashley?
No, this is a secondment of officers to the parish council.
Thank you.
I've got it here. It says, blah, 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 apart from this section, a local authority may enter into an agreement with another local authority for the placing at the disposal of the latter, meaning the other local authority, for the purposes of their functions, on such terms as may be provided, blah, 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 of the services of officers employed by the former, meaning us, but shall not enter into any such agreement with respect to any officer without consulting him, which presumably didn't happen either. So this is for us seconding one of our staff to some other local authority. It's the only possible way of reading that. In any event, you know, you can't make something legal in retrospect. That's a nonsense. It's like if I go to Marks and Spencer and walk out without paying for a coat, I can't then go back and say, I declare this to be a legal thing in retrospect. It's bonkers.
Can I have the clerk's advice on this, please?
It kind of closes nicely the legal, not legal argument, if you agree to it.
Sorry, what does it do?
Meetings legal, not legal argument would be closed by seconding officers.
Can you explain that?
Yes. If you actually follow this and do it to the very letter, you'll be saying that you seconded Jackie Weaver to the meetings on the 10th and the 21st, and also David Naylor to the meetings on the 25th and 27th of August.
No, Ashley, you can only read it in the sense that I've described, which is it would be us seconding one of our officers, you, to some other local authority. And it's local authorities. Jackie Weaver isn't a part of a local authority.
Can I suggest then that we defer this and relook at the fine print?
Yeah, defer and look at the fine print.
Is that acceptable, Chair?
Yes, I think dropping it all together is probably more sensible, but if you want to do this.
Yes, please.
I would be very happy to defer it.
Can I propose that then, Chair?
Sorry?
Can I propose that that's deferred?
I'll second.
Okay. I'm in favour.
In favour, Councillor Sampson.
In favour, Councillor Moore.
And Smith.
Okay. That's unanimous then. Right, number 7, to consider some minor revisions to the 21-22 budget. Who's speaking on that? Oh,
Councillor Sampson.
Okay.
We're now at 9:10. I don't propose to go through the budget line by line. What I would like to propose is that Ashley and I meet up, amend them, and bring them to the next meeting. They've already been agreed. It's just a matter of moving some costs out of one cost centre into another cost centre, and also getting some information, especially from yourself, Councillor Tolver, to do with the £10,000 you pulled out of the air for your greener handful. We're still waiting on a business plan from yourself that we asked for when you actually got it voted through.
Can I suggest that we do this budgeting through the Finance Committee?
Well, we haven't had a finance meeting.
Well, but isn't that what our financial regulations require?
Well, I would have thought so. That's why we brought it to the full council, because the finance chair hasn't called a finance meeting for over 12 months. And he didn't assist Ashley with the preparation of the budget either.
Well, you can snipe as much as you like.
I'm not sniping. I'm telling you the fact.
It did sound a little bit like it.
It's not. That is fact. Ashley had no assistance. He asked people to give their comments, and the only comments he got was from myself and Sue and John. Why you three didn't comment, I've no idea.
What do you mean, you three?
Well, Councillor Burton, Burkle and yourself.
I still think we should, well, it depends how minor the changes are that you're contemplating, I guess, but if it's of any significance, then it really ought to be done.
Well, it has to come to the full council for ratification anyway.
Can I just point out
from Councillor Burton to call a finance meeting, but I've heard nothing. I have had no emails from him.
Why don't you drop him? Why don't you drop him some proposals?
No, we asked him
not
to
for
call a
me to bring
meeting.
who's the finance chair.
Well, how else do you think it's going to happen?
Under normal processes, the chairman of the committee calls the meeting, and we should have had a finance meeting. And you are well aware of that, Councillor Tolver.
There's nothing to stop you making suggestions, is there?
But we have.
Well, what's the point of making suggestions when I don't get an answer to any emails?
That's what I think would be better to happen, but that's up to you. Up to you.
Can we move on, please?
What are we doing with this item?
I'll meet with Ashley with the amendments. Hopefully they'll all be circulated to all councillors in the hope that the chair of the Finance Committee will call a meeting to debate it.
So we're deferring this item?
Yes.
Okay, I'm happy with that. Anybody else not happy with that idea?
No, I concur.
We'll call that.
Can I propose that deferment?
I'll second.
I just thought we were agreeing by default because we're all content with it.
Well, it needs to be deferred, doesn't it?
We don't have to have a vote if we're all in accord, but if you want to, we can. Right.
Yes, well, I'd like to defer this motion.
Okay, seconded.
I'll second it. Councillor Moore.
In favour.
In favour.
In favour.
In favour.
Right. Good.
Next item, Chair, is the buses.
Chair, can I make a proposal that we defer this item, please? Because it is a very important motion. Absolutely. And I think all councillors, although they have been given the opportunity to meet with Craig Brown, that hopefully he can meet with those that couldn't turn up to the meeting on the Saturday where we made ourselves available. Yeah.
I understand that, Cynthia, but the problem is that the funding ends very soon.
Oh, I see. Right.
We need to move on where possible.
Well, I'm in full support that the amount of money that we are going to commit to, I'm in full support of it because Handforth needs a bus. And that's all I'm going to say.
And I concur with you, Councillor Sampson, that we do need this bus. There are lots of residents who need to use this bus. The figures support it. It's a trial period, and I think it would be the correct thing for Handforth Parish Council to support this for the pilot scheme of 12 months. We did actually discuss this last year, and it was brought. It didn't happen last year, it's happened this year. So I don't honestly think that there was any councillor that was had any objections to supporting this, but I may be incorrect in this assumption.
Well, I certainly would in principle. I'm a bit concerned about the numbers because I didn't get the briefing.
Well, I could say that the
I was a bit dubious in some respects, let's put it like that, and I would like to be assured about some of the numbers here, because it seems to me that in a sense we're paying for this 3 times over, in that we pay rates, as they used to be called, what's it called, council tax, which includes an element of public transport subsidy, which totally disappears if we don't have the 130 bus. So where's that money gone? We're giving up large amounts of land in the Garden Village, which was supposed to be contributing substantially towards transport costs. So why isn't that being used for this? And also,
because that won't be there for years.
And also, of course, we lose business from the Handforth Town Centre if people are travelling down to Wilmslow and Alderley Edge. I'm not saying they shouldn't do that at all, of course, but it does seem to me that we're, in a sense, paying 3 times over
Chair.
I would like to see how the figures have been arrived at to justify that.
But Chair, if I can mention that, you're saying that we don't want people going to Wilmslow or Alderhead or wherever. If people need to go to a bank, they've got to go there. And a lot of people don't have transport of their own. They rely on the bus. There are problems with saying that the garden village would pay for it. It may well do, but that's 2, 3, or possibly more years down the line. It's not going to happen overnight, and there is no guarantee that that bus will go where it's needed.
Yeah.
A lot of people in Handforth need to get to hospital in Macclesfield.
Exactly.
They can't do that with a bus from the garden village unless something dramatic is done. The actual numbers, we're looking at being asked for a 1/12 of the cost of the cost of maintaining service, which is 120 grand.
Yeah.
We're being asked for a 1/12, which, if that maintains the bus running for people in Handforth, I think 10 grand, a 1/12 of the cost is not bad value for money. We do have the funds in reserves, which could be used, or could be varied from other budget headings, but it's a pilot. It's not something that we have to commit to long term, but there's sometimes occasions when we've just got to pay something with not actually getting a great deal of anything back from it. It's a service that the people of Handforth need. Many of them need it. The actual, what do you call it, the terminus of the bus is Handforth. To try and go to the airport would cost more money. There are possible other solutions for moving people during the day, so moving the bus, stretching its day so that it's not purely used all day, but there may be other options using such like as FlexiLink, which is subsidised by Cheshire East. We have an option here that by us going forward, and it's not been agreed by all of the councils yet, but I think we're at least 50%, 60% are agreed. The vast majority of the funding is coming from Cheshire East and Alderley Park, and we're being asked for 10 grand, as I said, which is a 1/12 of the cost of subsidising maintenance service at the current level, hopefully, within for the next 12 months, 120,000, which is, again, something that needs to be done urgently because the funding from central government will be disappearing in a matter of weeks. We need to have something in place before then.
May I speak, Chairman, please?
I mean, I think we're probably all in agreement, but I would like to see the detailed proposal personally.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure if you have a word with the deputy leader, he'll be happy to go through it with you. So if we could perhaps agree to go forward on this, subject to you getting the information, we want to move it forward.
I'll see if I can make contact with him.
An in principle vote, though?
An in principle vote, yes, please. I'd like to propose that we go forward with a commitment for £10,000 for maintaining the service level of the 130 bus for the next year.
What does a vote in principle mean? What does...
So you get a chance to have a scrutinised, but Cheshire East get the reassurance that we are happy enough. But you'll get to see the thing and perhaps bring it back to the March meeting, but at least Cheshire East know that we're saying yes in principle.
Sorry,
I don't know if I'd be content with that if I was Cheshire East, but it sounds like we're saying kindly get on with it, but we're not sure if we're going to pay for it yet.
Well, no, the principle is that we will pay for it unless there's something dramatically awry with the information that you get from the deputy leader, which the three of us councillors had a very long, over an hour meeting where we were discussing this, and we came out at the other end believing that Handforth needs the 130, and we have a responsibility to make sure that we get it.
Anybody would disagree with that. It's a question of how much we pay.
Well, it's a 1/12 of the cost. It's a 1/12 of the cost. It's 10,000. We have those funds available.
My concern, Councillor Tolver, would be if we do not support this motion, or we ask to put in a lower amount, that actually Handforth would not be served as well as it should be done if we put in this amount of money. Because it's a number of councils together, we can obviously influence where this bus actually goes.
Well, I was just going to ask that, if you don't mind, what is the route within Handforth being proposed?
Sorry, say that again.
Within the Handforth bit of this bus service, what is the route proposed?
Well, it's currently with the same route, won't it, as existing?
Well, that's my question. Is it?
Yes.
Yes, we will have input on the route where it affects Handforth.
However, if we don't contribute, the concern is we contribute less, we will have less influence. And I suspect that looking at the numbers of people on the buses, that there are quite a large number of people in Handforth who need to pick up this bus. And if we don't support it, we will have no transport in apart from trains in Handforth.
Yeah, I totally understand that.
Worrying, to say the least.
Well, okay, I'm personally prepared to go along with the idea of a yes in principle.
Okay.
But I would like to see the details before we get totally committed.
Well, it's one of those, Chair, that we have to be committed.
Well, then I would have to back off in that case until I've seen the numbers.
Well, the numbers are 12,000, which is a 1/12 of the total cost. Sorry, 10,000, which is a 1/12 of the total cost.
Very good.
I think it's Handforth Parish Council's duty to support this bus.
I agree.
I agree.
We could use the Greener Handforth budget, of course, which is totally untouched.
Chair?
Well, I'm just thinking, does that make any sense? To use
what
the
make any
Handforth
sense?
budget? I mean, okay, we haven't used it for the last year because of COVID.
No, we've not used it for 22 months, Chair.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's true. Luckily, the volunteer organisations have taken on the brunt of doing that, haven't they?
But we do have the funds available.
So does that mean
if we were to go to the residents of Handforth and say, look, we decided we weren't really sure about this, so we decided to let the bus disappear, they would be rightfully up in arms. We have a responsibility. We have a responsibility, even if it's only for 1 year. We can make our mind up in more detail without without waiting until we've lost the current funding.
Okay, yep, I agree.
Oh, I believe that all we need now is a proposal. Yes?
Yeah.
I could second.
Sorry, who proposed?
Yeah, I thought Cynthia proposed, or Sue.
Yeah, I propose that.
Sorry, Sue, I didn't hear you.
Sorry, I propose that we commit £10,000 to support the bus for 1 year under a, and hopefully that Councillor Tolver can get in touch with Craig Brown, the deputy, and hopefully he can give him the information that he gave us, because it was a very, very good meeting that we had with him.
Yeah, can I just point out, I think that it was probably in the email pack from Craig that I certainly received, and I know Cynthia and Sue did. Chair, it will be in your email pack that you will have received from him. So perhaps look at that or ask him to send it you again. But can we get on with the vote, Chair?
Yeah.
In favour.
In favour, Councillor Moore.
Yeah.
In favour, Smith. All in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
I think we better record that, don't you?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yep. Yep.
Okay. I'm exhausted. What have we got?
Shall I read it, Chair?
Would
you like me to read it?
Oh, 15-minute discussion forum for items not pertaining to the agenda.
Yes, I think isn't this for Councillor Moore?
It is. I did propose this, but given the length of time that this meeting has taken, I would still like to listen to members of the public. It's rather an unfortunate situation that has brought the parish council to the fore. However, there's always a silver lining to everything, and that is that the parish council has been brought to the attention of a lot of residents who have misconceptions about what the parish council is. And now we have the opportunity with lots of people here. We can't necessarily answer questions directly. We may not know the answers, but I do think it's important that the residents here have some input, and currently that does not happen. And I would like to see this motion of a discussion on every agenda, just as the open forum is at the beginning. But the suggestion is that it is at the end of the meeting so that we can regulate the time a bit more effectively.
Chair, there's a hand up. Alan Murdoch.
Clark, could you unmute?
Yeah, I think I'm unmuted. Right, I've got two questions. I was going to have questions for councillors Birkhill and Burton, but unfortunately they're not here. So we'll have to leave those for another day. But there is a provision for an annual parish meeting, which can be held, I think, in either April or May. And I'd like to suggest, if I may, that councillors consider making this be held in April before the May election, whilst the present councillors and officers are still in place and can contribute to the debate. And secondly, in all the governance meetings that I attend, there's always a report by the chief executive officer, the secretary or the treasurer on what's happened in the, if you like, the organisation during the month since the previous meeting. Obviously, in this case, that officer would be the clerk. I don't know how councillors or the public really know what's been going on behind the scenes in the absence of a report by the clerk. So I wonder whether the councillors would like to consider having a standard agenda item for a report by the clerk of anything which he considers relevant to be brought before the meeting.
Can I answer that, please, Chair? We always used to have a report from the clerk, and unfortunately, it somehow got lost in the momentum. And I'd welcome it to come back, because the more we can get out to the community exactly what's happening on the parish council, the better it is for Handforth Parish Council.
In a similar vein, Alan, I would like to see a report from ward councillors. But if you do remember, I put that to a meeting some time ago, and it was voted down. And so we didn't get reports from ward councillors. And that, I think, was a great shame, because we don't know what's going on at Cheshire East unless ward councillors inform us. And again, it's about keeping in touch with the residents. Let's face it, this parish council is for the residents. It's not for anything else.
Okay, and as for the annual parish meeting, would you agree that that would be before the election?
I'm in favour of that.
I
thought it had to be in May. Am I wrong?
You ask the clerk.
Any time between April and June, you have a 3-month period to hold it.
Okay. That's the parish meeting rather than the annual parish council meeting.
Yes, that's right, Brian. The annual council meeting has to be held in May, 100%.
Okay.
Can I point out, Chair, that Roger had a hand up?
Sorry, are we going to take that forward? Or...
Roger.
Sorry, Alan.
I've had a number. I've had a number of questions filed with me from like TV stations and the like. I don't know how much energy people have got, but it would probably be. I don't know if they're still here with us, but probably be courteous if we went through some of those.
Chair, can I mention that we're here to really for the parish council residents, and if there's residents who have questions.
I understand that, but if a TV station is interested in something, it's probably also of interest to the residents, wouldn't you think?
Well, perhaps after the residents have had their questions,
well,
we can look at those who come from outside the village.
We can interleave them. Have I got? Let's see who we've got. Have we got Georgina Hill? Is Georgina Hill one of our guests? No. Okay.
Sorry, Brian.
Sorry.
I'm having a look now.
Oh, have you silenced them all?
Roger Paul has his hand up.
I can't spot her in here though, so can we ask Roger what his question is?
Okay.
Chair, if I may briefly return to the question of local transport, I think the parish council ought to have a look at the Greater Manchester local transport plan. There are bus routes marked in there, notably express bus services. The bus service from Stockport via Woodford via the Garden Village to the airport is shown on the map, as is an express bus service from the airport and running through the centre of Handforth, i.e. to the west of the A34. So I think those bus services ought to be taken into consideration. And I think a colleague of mine on the Friends of Handforth Station would like to make a comment about rail services, if Ian Ball is still present.
Can I answer that, please, Chair?
Sorry, what?
Can I answer that point of Roger's?
Yeah, sure.
I presume by saying through the middle of Handforth, do you mean the A555?
I think it's going to come straight through the centre of the village. It's shown to the west of the bypass.
Right, because any buses that go in towards the airport into Greater Manchester, they are subject to penalties if they've not got the green buses, which the 130 doesn't have any green buses. It's something that could be looked at in the future, getting electric buses, because then there would be the benefit of not having the extra penalty of polluting buses, which would enable a better route into the airport terminus and further on from that. So it's something that was looked at.
Yeah, I think the parish council ought to have a look at that map and see what's proposed. But again, I'd like to ask Ian Ball, if he's still around, to say something about train services. Ian, are you there?
Needs unmuting, Ashley.
Oh, another one needs unmuting. Ian, where are you?
Top row.
Well, there he is.
The vote with his hand up.
Yeah, got here.
Yeah,
You should
good.
be-
Thank you.
There you are.
Good. Yeah, I'll make this very brief. I have a concern. The document that was issued by the Manchester Recovery Task Force of the rail industry is proposing three options. The three options are fairly major changes to the South Manchester network in order to try and put paper over the cracks, the rather major cracks that are represented by that bottleneck, severe bottleneck on the service, the lines between Manchester Piccadilly Platform 13 and Salford Crescent, which is also used by umpteen freight trains as well as umpteen passenger trains, and totally impossible to get those trains through. So three options have been proposed by this recovery group, and it's out for public consultation at the moment. And I would dearly like Handforth Parish Council, if it's not already done so, to formulate a response that reflects the views of Handforth. Basically, we currently have, when I say currently, pre-COVID, we currently have half-hourly services into Manchester Piccadilly. We have half-hourly services to Crewe. We have a direct service to Southport and stations on the Southport line. So Handforth is currently directly connected both north and south. However, because of that severe infrastructure bottleneck north of Platform 13 and Manchester Piccadilly, we have severe delays on some of those trains, as we all know. The three options that are proposed: option A is going to retain the half-hourly service to Manchester Piccadilly. It's going to retain an hourly service to Crewe direct, but there will be no service direct north of Manchester Piccadilly. And trains will not go to Platform 13, they'll go to the main concourse. And if you want to make a connection northwards from Manchester Piccadilly, you'll have to make that rather long traipse from the concourse right up and along to Platform 13, which when we take into account the context of what's happening in Handforth, is rather unfortunate for the people who we intend to benefit from the new step-free access, the access for all that is currently beginning to happen for Handforth Station. So those people, the disabled people, the people with pushchairs, the people with heavy luggage, the infirm, will all have to traipse across from the main concourse to Platform 13. It gets worse. Option B, we have no direct trains to Crewe anymore with option B. They all stop at Alderley Edge. So if we're not concerned about that, well, I think there's something a little odd about that. We would, however, have through trains once an hour up to, not to Southport this time, but to Blackpool. So we would have a situation not too bad at Platform 13, but we'd have no connection to Crewe. Option C is the option which our beloved MP for Tatton has been lobbying for in the local press. Means that when we join a train at Handforth, we have a magnificent total of 7 stations to choose from to go to, and no more than that. Those stations are the stations between here and Manchester Piccadilly and here and Alderley Edge, and that's it. We are essentially no longer a main rail service. We are a little branch line. So I think option C in my mind is totally absurd and totally unacceptable. When we think about the Garden Village coming up shortly, for these people to only have 7 stations to choose from without changing at Piccadilly or Winslow is absurd. So I would just implore the council to think about these things and maybe formulate a plan to put forward during the consultation before it ends fairly early in March, to see what we can do to retain something of the services that we've had before. Thank you.
Ian, may I ask you how long this consultation period is for?
Well, I believe it's going to be around about the 10th of March or so that it
Oh,
finishes.
really? As soon as that?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
fairly short fuse.
Does it require the council to have come together to make a decision, or can individual councillors make their comments?
Yeah, I think that would be an equally good idea. Perhaps the more the merrier in terms of submitting views to the consultation.
Okay, because really it's going to come down to a handful of councillors agreeing a position, and that's not really more significant than those individual councillors making their opinions, is it?
Right, yes. And I think also whatever we say, which of those options that are on offer, we say is our least bad option, we ought to continue to lobby for the some significant improvement to that infrastructure north of platform 13 at Manchester Piccadilly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I think my concern on that one is that we have outline planning permission for the car park. Is that under threat because of this? If we're in essence a branch line and not a main line anymore, and people actually can't go anywhere, what's the point in them coming to Handforth?
I think that question is exactly a question that will be asked if we allow option C to win. Yes.
Yeah. Mm. So I think as a parish council, we should respond on, you know, as the parish council.
Okay. Ashley, did you find Ms. Hill?
Alan has his hand up.
Alan?
I think this is something of the interest to the Garden Village developers as well, because a large part of their argument in favour of the Garden Village is that it's going to have rail access from Handforth to various places. So if that rail access is going to be truncated, then that rather takes away a bit of their attraction. Ian, if you could circulate the details of the consultation, we can certainly send it out to various people that we think might have an interest in responding.
Okay. Anybody else on the rail service? Was that the end of your stuff, Alan?
Yes, for now, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find Georgina Hill?
No, I've not found a Georgina Hill.
Okay.
No, sorry.
Right. Who is the next one? We had.
Oh, wait a minute.
Very much.
Go. Here we go. She should have entered the meeting now.
Hmm?
She should be in now, yeah. She should be. She's somewhere. I'll unmute her. There we go.
Yeah. Hello. Do you have the authority?
Ah, great.
Am I? Have you got rid of that one, Nash?
Yeah.
I was going to say, I saw a message come up then from Kathleen Keane, who is a resident. I don't know the name, but she was asking if she could ask a question. Kathleen Keane, KK.
I have seen her knocking about.
We've got Dawn. I doubt if she's here anymore, but maybe Dawn.
There we are.
Of Good Morning Britain.
This is Kathleen Key.
Roy North. So Roy Hunt, I beg your pardon. Dawn Adams. Paul Long. Dale Hall.
Chair, we do have a number of residents who are actually on with their hands up. I don't know if you can see them, or perhaps Ashley can.
Well,
I can only see what you can see.
The people who've submitted them in writing were, I'm not arguing against that. I'm just saying that people who submitted them in writing did get into the queue first. And
I wasn't sure whether you'd seen it.
No, I can't see these things.
Unless we find people soon, Chair, we're just going to sit here looking at people's pictures.
There's this chap.
Alan's waving his hand.
Yeah, Alan's back again.
Sorry, really, it's just a comment, really, that I'm sure a lot of the people of Handforth will be very disappointed that in this meeting, firstly, that Councillor Burkill hasn't turned up with what appears to be a rather lame excuse. No sign of Councillor Burton at all, with or without his father. So I had questions for both of them that I've not been able to put to them. The bus question has been on the agenda for a good couple of weeks, and unfortunately the chair has not been briefed, or not briefed himself on that in such a way that we could make a decision on what might be a very important part of the council's offering, or the parish offering. And you know, the budget was a fair shambles as well, that we're not able to approve that with a unanimous decision, or even or with sensible questions as to why not. I'm sure to anybody outside looking at the meeting, ignoring the disruptions and so on, they'll think the actual business of the council has been very, very poor.
I'd just like to mention there, Chair, that the budget are purely for heading ratification, heading rationalisation, if you like, just taking some of the budget lines and incorporating them with another one that's similar, so that we're not got lots of different budget lines.
Okay. It would have been nice to have a proposal to deal with at the time.
It's not the actual numbers, but that's what I'm saying.
And Alan, can I just say the budget has been approved. It's just, we're just going to move some cost centres round. And,
okay.
You know, we haven't had a finance meeting for well over 12 months,
Yeah.
but I will be asking the clerk to contact the chair of finance, which is Councillor Brewerton, to call a finance meeting.
Okay. It also seems strange that we can't get unanimity on the payment of accounts, which seems to be should be a relatively straightforward affair. But anyway, sorry, that's just my general view on the way people in the parish will see this meeting having been conducted, not just the disruption, but the actual business, the attention some of the councillors have paid or not paid to turning up or briefing themselves.
Well, can I just say that the payments have been approved. It was only Councillor Tolver who decided to abstain, and not give a reason. So,
Precisely.
you know, but we can't be responsible for Councillor Tolver's opinion. We're trying to do housekeeping and keep Handforth Parish Council.
Not criticising you. I'm not criticising you. I'm saying I'm not criticising you for Councillors Burkill and Brewerton not turning up. I'm saying I think people will draw their own conclusions as the seriousness of which people treat these meetings as turning up or briefing themselves beforehand.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman, I think we've had more than our 15 minutes on this. Can we close this and move on?
Yeah.
Just make a little comment to about Councillor Burkill. These meetings at Cheshire East do take all day. Now, after 2.5 hours of this meeting, I'm exhausted. So if I was Councillor Burkill, I would be pretty knackered, I think, after a full day meeting. So I think we ought to take a bit more trouble to avoid clashing with Cheshire East meetings, whether that be of the full council or of the Northern Planning Committee, because they do run for an awful long time.
Yeah, Chair, I would point out that...
And also the Strategic Planning Board, of course.
I would point out, Chair, that Councillor Smith has also been at that meeting all day, but has been here following the events of this evening's meeting.
Well, that's great, but we're not all as young as Councillor Smith.
Well, if that's the case, maybe we should be looking at getting some younger members.
Well, it's very difficult to find anybody who will stand. I mean, we only, out of a population of 6,500.
Well, the good thing is there is a vacancy in the West Ward.
We're lucky if a dozen people actually.
There is a vacancy in the West Ward, so let's see who comes forward.
And it's, I mean, I find it to be almost a full-time job. It's very difficult to expect anybody of working age to be able to give up as much time as is necessary.
Well, I think if any other councillors want to resign, and we'll see where we go on in May. I'd be very pleased to see that put to the test.
I have a full-time job, Chair. Ward Councillor Smith has a full-time job.
And I have a full-time job.
Councillor Moore does.
And I have a full-time job looking after the house on my own.
Yeah,
yeah.
Quite right.
Ashley, I'd point out, is that Kathleen Keane on the top line there?
I think so.
She was there a second ago.
Right, sorry, it just keeps flipping around, doesn't it? I did ask to unmute.
Okay. Shall we set a date for the next meeting then?
Yeah.
Shall we revert to the Tuesdays?
Yes, I'd agree.
Second Tuesday of the month.
Can we go for a little later in the month, Brian? Only because it's the first, if you see what I mean. It's a very short month.
Yeah, fine.
Is that okay? If we go for the
16th.
16th.
Can you check to see that doesn't clash with any Cheshire East stuff?
I don't think it does, but we'll check. But yeah, that's normally on a Wednesday, isn't it?
No, well, sorry, what?
Yeah, they're on a Wednesday, aren't they? Cheshire East. Yeah.
Our meetings have historically been Tuesdays.
Yeah, so
know,
Tuesday the 16th.
Look them up on the website anyway. So if we say on or about the, whatever that was, 16th.
16th,
but check with Cheshire East. So you need to avoid the full council, well, there won't be a full Cheshire East meeting, but the Strategic Planning Board and the Northern Planning Committee.
Well, they're during the day, Chair, aren't they?
Yeah.
So
but they can go on all day.
Yeah, they do, but we start at 7 o'clock or 7:30.
Well, I'm just saying, if you want your councillors to turn up having spent all day at meetings like this, and then do another meeting like this, you know,
Are we having
well, if you don't want to do 2 meetings, don't go on more than one council.
Yeah.
Is what I say.
Are we having a planning meeting and then a full council meeting?
Well,
Ashley?
Don't
we have to have an extraordinary planning meeting to deal with the one that we couldn't deal with today?
Yes, we can do. I'll send out an email, and we'll organise that.
What is the nature of that planning application? I mean, is it one that we're likely to actually be concerned about?
No.
No.
Do we actually need to do one at all then?
No.
Right. Can we agree not to bother?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody bothered about bothering?
I don't know what I'm being asked to bother about.
Whether we have an extraordinary meeting for the P&E.
As long as that we do have or don't.
Don't have one.
As long as it doesn't impact on people's planning, getting into the right timing.
Well, that's what I wanted to discuss, and it was Councillor Tolbert said we couldn't discuss it. So that's why we're having another meeting.
I think he's now saying you approve it.
I know.
Yes, you approve it.
Yeah. Well,
I'd have reservations about that.
We don't need to even bother about it.
I'm not going to worry about a port. No.
I'll tell you what, let's leave it like this, that Ashley will circulate an email saying which planning application, get the number right, circulate an email saying which planning application we need to think about, and we'll come back to him and say whether we have.
Well, he gave us that in an email. He gave it to us before the meeting.
Send it again.
Yeah.
Didn't you, Ash?
Yes.
Thank you.
We can just have another look, yeah.
I just feel as though we're going over stuff and we're looking quite inept.
Getting good at that.
Well, I'm sorry. I want us to look professional. I did
agree.
try and debate. I did give the new planning applications, and it was only because the chair said that we couldn't do that because it hadn't been properly advertised. And now he wants to say, shall we leave it?
Well, we're going to have to leave it now, councillors, because it's gone 10 o'clock.
I know.
And I'd just like to thank those members of the public who've taken the time and sat there as long as we have all evening without a great deal of input. Hopefully next time we'll be a bit more slick about it, and the events of the last couple of weeks will have been faded into the distance, so only those who are really interested in the parish council may be here, rather than those who just want to act the fool.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
But thanks to those who've not managed to get the question in that they wanted.
However, if they do still have a question, if they put it to the parish clerk, maybe we can answer it.
I'd go along with that. If they want to put the name of who they'd like to answer it. Yeah, quite happy to do that.
Okay.
Or they can put it to me as they've already been doing in droves.
Well, we haven't seen those. If you'd circulated, yeah, but if you'd have circulated them, Brian, we could have had a debate on it.
The system, because there won't be quite so many people attending, perhaps.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Is that the close of the meeting?
Anybody else got anything they want to mention?
No.
Well, we've already closed it, Chair, haven't we? We've set the date.
I've set the date, but I haven't closed it. Yeah.
Well, good night.
So I shall now do that. I shall close the meeting now.
Thanks, Ashley.
Thanks, guys.
Good work.
Good night, all.